Welcome back to another episode of Pipe Surgery. This week's question comes from Jim, who has just finished a sales training program and is entering for the first time into his first sales role. So good luck with that, Jim. His question's an interesting one, Simon. It is, what has been the biggest change in B2B sales in recent times?
It's a great question, Jim. And as Rob said, to echo that, good luck in your new career. It'd be tempting to talk about AI, but I think anyone who's talking about AI in sales is really winging it and guessing it. No one really knows what the impact's going to be, far too early. So the jury's going to be out on that. It's going to change a lot and be a lot of twists and turns over the next few years. So I'm not going to focus on AI at all in my answer. I think it's to do with accessibility to information. So obviously the internet's been around a long time, and 10, 15 years ago, you could access websites and find out information before making a decision about buying. But I think in the last 3, 4, 5 years that I've really observed, when you speak to buyers, they're already quite far down the track in their purchase journey. So I think it's become easier in some ways for salespeople because they don't have to create that initial interest. You can assume a buyer's already maybe researched other companies, looked at the competitors, they've seen some testimonials from other clients. So the buyers are quite far down in the journey. So I think the biggest change for me in sales is you need to make a bit of a mind shift from having to really oversell the product through to just assisting and holding the hand of the buyer through the process and making it much easier for them to make a decision, to navigate a lot more internal stakeholders than there were a few years ago. There's a lot more buyers involved. Certainly the CFOs are far more involved now than they were a year ago, given companies really looking at their bottom line. So for me, those have been the biggest changes.
Interesting. Maybe I'll give a more controversial answer, which is that everything's changed and nothing's changed. In that people are still people, they still have objectives or challenges or pain points that they need to solve in their businesses. And that has always been the case. I think what maybe has changed is obviously the scale and the global nature of B2B sales over the recent decades has probably been one of the biggest changes, because that informs, I guess, what you maybe would call something like platforms and culture of how to sell. So it's back to the attention. It's back to how you deliver your message. So that's the platforms, whether it's social media, whether it's email, whether it's conferences. The platforms have either scaled up or there are new platforms to deliver your message. So there's that big change. And I guess also culture. If it's global, then obviously you're dealing with different types of people all around the world, different cultures that are involved in that. The culture of the platforms themselves, when you're doing sales and marketing. And within that, also the generational changes. The way that you and I want to be sold to is different to the way our kids want to be sold to. And that impacts how you run your company and go to market. So I think it's a big question. There are lots of answers to it, but for me, everything's always existed before. It's just how it's reborn and reimagined in the new world, as it were.
Yeah, good points.
Jim, good luck. We wish you every success. And that wraps up another episode of Pipe Surgery.